The Vice President of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, David Holt, joins us now. He's the mayor of Oklahoma City.
Mayor Holt, it is good to see you. I'm actually quite jealous that Michael gets to be in the studio with you today. Let's get into it. First, I mean, President Biden left you off the charge, guardians of democracy. How are you all planning to work with the Trump administration? I know the mayors have a lot of things on the agenda, everything from immigration to housing and everything in between. What's the strategy?
Well, you know, I think and by the way, good morning, Simone. It's great to see you, and I'm sorry we're not together. But, you know, I think we're the most pragmatic political leaders that there are in the country right now. And, you know, the numbers favor Democrats when you look at who runs all the big cities. I'm a registered Republican, but really we're all kind of nonpartisan. We're bipartisan. And as you all know, we just want to get things done. And we are very outcome-oriented in American cities. And so I think we're entering January 20th with a clean slate. We're not looking back. We're looking forward. Whether it's Democrats or Republicans in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I think we want to find common ground. And I think for us, we think that's hopefully infrastructure and housing. I mean, housing, obviously, a major issue facing our country. And we think, like, there's got to be some common ground there. If this administration is coming in really focused on the economy and leaving voters with the impression that they have improved economic conditions, well, I mean, everybody's greatest expense is housing. So how can we work together to address the housing crisis in our cities? We think that's an area of common ground. Obviously, we'll see how it all works out. I mean, I would be lying if I said there wasn't some anxiousness. But I think, like, that's our attitude. You know, there's nobody in the Conference of Mayors that's wanting to be the face of the resistance or anything like that. You know, we want to come in where the people have spoken. We want to get things done for our cities. That's always our approach.
Mayor, I got to tell you, you have been receiving praise from Symone Sanders Townsend, who, as you know, does not give...
David Holt is a Republican I would vote for, honey. I'm just saying.
Not give empty praise. So thank you for being here. And it's interesting to me, Oklahoma City has done hard things before, right? This is a city that has recovered from tragedy. It is a city that has led the way on what walkable, transportation-oriented cities can look like. And so I think when it comes to a crisis like housing, there is good reason to look at a city like Oklahoma City. Let me put this in the context of what we are seeing nationally. This is from the USCMAIA housing survey. The housing shortfall is expected to grow by more than 2 million units over the next 5 years unless Congress acts. A third of responding mayors reported that more than 50% of households in their city were cost burdened by housing. Nearly all mayors reported higher median costs in rental prices, sale prices, and cost per square foot. And without congressional action, more than 4 in 5 mayors expected that housing affordability, access, economic opportunity, and homelessness will worsen significantly. This is the challenge for mayors, right? Which is, to some degree, you are hamstrung by what your friends in Washington choose to do when you meet with members of Congress. What is your message to them about what effectively addressing the housing crisis that we're seeing all across this country looks like when it comes to federal legislation?
Well, I think the first step is protecting what we already depend on. So there are some pretty significant programs like CDBG, Community Development Block Grants. That's a major program that cities use, and we have, you know, a bit of latitude to be creative, and we do a lot of really cool things with those dollars in our communities that have been helping the housing situation for decades. I mean, some of the rhetoric that's happened over the last 3 months would endanger those types of programs, right? And that would be moving backwards, and we certainly don't want to do that. So that's a starting point, is let's protect what we have. Let's continue to fund those innovative programs that cities have used for decades. And then, you know, beyond that, sure, we would love to talk about whether it's regulatory issues, whether it's actual funding, whether it's tax credits. You know, I think it's kind of a blank slate, but we just want people to come into this new Congress and to this new administration with housing as a top priority. I mean, it doesn't have to be it may be the top priority for us. We understand it might be top 5 for Congress or the White House, but it needs to be on the list. It's, as I said earlier, I mean, it's the #1 expense for Americans in their household budgets, and it is absolutely a top 5 issue for Americans in general. So it should be for this city, and that is absolutely a place where we can work together.
Mayor, let's do a little politics, because
Okay.
I can't have a mayor at the table and not do a little politics. You used the word at the very beginning of the conversation, pragmatic, and I love that word because as someone who's been in state government, I understand very much what that word means in terms of the execution of the job. But the politics beneath the pragmatism is the balancing act and how you govern as a Republican mayor. And in a lot of cases, I know a lot of Republican mayors who are running nonpartisan races. So the labels go away. But you're still in this space, as NPR is reporting, you know, as the President-elect Trump takes office again, with the GOP now lined up behind Trump, the most visible interscene squabbles playing out in Congress and in conservative circles are instead among those vying to prove their visions are the best implementation of Trump's MAGA agenda. You're in a different space than most who are playing in larger arenas. Talk about how you have to balance that in your governing, because, you know, your thing is I have to make sure that street light works, the trash gets picked up, and the neighbors around the corner behaving themselves, right? It says no loud parties after a certain hour. But then there's this other side of the job, too, that you're, you know, in a party or in a political environment that's a little bit more volatile. Talk a little bit about that, that part of it.
Yeah, thank you. And I think what I'm going to say is responsive. And I'll do a callback because there's a much longer discussion that Simone and I had on this a couple years ago that you can Google and watch. But, but the way that most mayors are elected is in a nonpartisan format or kind of a top 2 type format. And the bottom line is that all voters see all the candidates and all the candidates have to face all the voters, and you don't go through a closed partisan primary. So when you talk about politics and you talk about some of this like party politics, you know, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me is that when I face my voters again in Oklahoma City, I'm going to face Republicans, Democrats, and independents.
Right.
On the first day of the election. There's no closed partisan primary. So I can go in building a coalition of what I often refer to as the 70% of normal people in the middle who are Republicans, Democrats, and independents. They have principles, but they're willing to compromise. And it's just a totally different incentive structure than people who are running for most of congressional seats and governor's offices and to be the president. They feel like they've got to fear their far right or their far left because the first step they've got in the next process is a primary.
Right.
I don't have to worry about that. And so, and most mayors are in that same situation for whatever historic reasons. That's the structure we are usually elected through. Well, man, it just makes for such better governance. So when people tell me, like, man, why is it that we can't, whatever the issue is, you know, guns or abortion, there's like these 70-30 positions that the American public has. Why can't we see those implemented in government? I often pivot away from the issue towards election reform. I'm like, you know what? It's because you're electing people.
There you go.
And if you want,
on it, Mayor.
Yeah, if you want people to be unifying, pragmatic, effective, like mayors, who I think are the best political class in America. Change your elections to elect people the way we elect mayors.
You see why I would vote for David Holt?
Simone,
Do you see this?
I see it. I get
you
it.
See this?
I get it.
Mayor, before we let you go,
convinced.
I mean, I'm saying, okay? Before we let you go, Mr. Mayor, I mean, I have to wonder, did the deportations come up at the meeting that you all have been having this week, specifically because the president-elect is promising to target cities? I mean, we already know from reporting, Chicago is on the list. In conversations, I mean, ICE is planning the first major enforcement in Chicago right after the inauguration. What was that conversation this week?
Yeah, it's come up. I think a lot of our reaction has been, what is it really, right? It's a lot of rhetoric. Is what's going to happen actually different than normal actions of ICE through the years? Or is this really something extraordinary? And I think we're in a little bit of a wait-and-see approach on that issue, probably like a lot of other issues, is to see what's rhetoric and what's real. I think you opened the show talking about bluster, and we've all seen that. So we're just kind of waiting to see, I think, what's real. But certainly people are anxious, and they want to see how that plays out. And we're protective of all our residents, always have been. That's a key part of being a mayor. But we obviously also operate under the rule of law, and we respect that as well.